You're standing in your closet. Nothing feels like you anymore. The clothes, the posters on your wall, even the way your room is decorated, it all feels like it belongs to someone else, someone you used to be. You've been changing quietly on the inside for months, maybe years, but your external life hasn't caught up yet. And now you're living in a space that doesn't match who you're becoming. If this feels familiar, you're not broken. What you're experiencing is something psychologists call the identity lag, and it explains why you feel so disconnected from your own life. Today, we're going to break down why it happens, why it's so disorienting, and how to start closing the gap. Here's what the lag actually looks like. You scroll through old photos and barely recognize the person staring back at you, not because you look different, but because you feel different. That version of you cared about things you don't care about anymore, laughed at things that don't feel funny now, wanted things that feel hollow. And it's not just photos, it's your friendships. You sit with people you used to be close to, and the conversation feels like work, not because they changed, but because you did. And they're still talking to the old version of you that doesn't exist anymore. It's your routines. The things you used to do for fun now feel empty. The hobbies that once lit you up feel like obligations. You tell yourself you're just in a phase, that it'll pass, but deep down you know it's not temporary. You've outgrown parts of your life, and you don't know how to tell anyone, including yourself. So you keep going through the motions. You wear the clothes that don't feel like you. You show up to the places that drain you. You perform the personality people expect because changing feels too big, too complicated, too lonely. But here's the truth. You're not lost. You're just out of sync. Your internal self has been evolving, but your external life, your environment, your routines, your relationships, is still running on the old operating system. And that mismatch, that's what's making everything feel so wrong. So why does this happen? Why do we outgrow our lives faster than we can rebuild them? It comes down to something psychologists call self-discrepancy theory. Here's how it works. At any given moment, you're actually living as three different versions of yourself. There's your actual self, who you are right now in this moment, your real thoughts, real feelings, real values. There's your ideal self, who you want to become, the version of you that feels aligned, authentic, whole. And then there's your ought self, who you think you're supposed to be, based on other people's expectations, your past decisions, the identity you've been performing for years. When these three align, life feels right. You feel like yourself. But when they don't, when your actual self is quietly evolving, but your environment is still built around your ought self, that's when the lag happens. You feel like a stranger in your own life because you are. You're trying to live in a structure designed for someone you're no longer being. And here's the part that makes it so hard. You can't see the lag while it's happening. You don't wake up one day and realize you've changed. It happens slowly. A belief shifts here. A value updates there. A dream dies quietly. A new one starts growing in its place. But your closet, still full of the old you's clothes. Your calendar, still packed with the old you's commitments. Your social circle, still expecting the old you to show up. So you feel the dissonance, the disconnection, the quiet, constant hum of something's not right. And you blame yourself for not being able to just fit anymore. If this is making sense, do me a favor and tap the like button. It helps this video reach people who need to hear it. I appreciate you. So, how do you close the gap? How do you bring your external life into alignment with who you're becoming? It starts with 3 small, intentional shifts. Step 1. Name one thing that no longer fits. You don't have to overhaul your entire life tonight. Just pick one thing, one habit, one commitment, one object in your space that clearly belongs to your old self, not your current one. Maybe it's a hobby you've been forcing yourself to keep up with. Maybe it's a group chat that drains you. Maybe it's literally a piece of clothing you haven't felt like yourself in for months. Name it, out loud or in a journal. Say, "This doesn't fit who I'm becoming." You don't have to remove it yet. You don't have to make a big announcement. Just acknowledge the misalignment. That's the first step. Step 2. Make one small external change. Pick something small and visible in your environment that you can shift to reflect who you are now. Rearrange your space, change your phone wallpaper, swap out one book on your shelf for one that feels more aligned. Buy a plant, clear a surface. It sounds simple, but it matters, because every time you see that change, your brain gets a quiet signal. Oh, we're updating. We're allowed to evolve. You're not erasing your past, you're just making room for your present. And step 3, practice saying no to your ought self. This is the hardest one, but it's the most important. Your ought self, the version of you built on expectations, old promises, and who you think you should be, will keep pulling you back into the old life. It'll whisper, "But you've always been the person who," "But people expect you to," "But you can't just change now." And your job is to gently, kindly say, "I used to be that. I'm not anymore." You don't owe anyone the version of you they got comfortable with. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to outgrow. You're allowed to become. Now, these 3 steps will help you start closing the gap, but if you're realizing you need more structure to actually figure out who you're becoming and what that means for your life, I built something that might help. It's called the Mental Reset Toolkit, a 45-card guide with exercises, journaling prompts, and clarity practices designed to help you reconnect with yourself during transitions like this. It's not about going back to who you were, it's about discovering who you are now. Links in the description if you're interested. Here's what I need you to hear. You're not broken because your life doesn't fit anymore. You're evolving, and evolution doesn't happen neatly. There will be a period where your internal self and your external life are out of sync. That's not failure, that's growth in motion. You don't have to fix it all at once. You don't have to announce it to everyone. You don't even have to fully understand it yet. Just take one small step toward the person you're becoming, and then another, and another. The lag will close, your life will catch up, and one day you'll stand in your space and it'll finally feel like yours. If this helped, hit like and subscribe for more psychology that actually makes sense. And drop a comment. What's one thing in your life that no longer fits who you're becoming? I read them all. Be kind to yourself. I'll see you in the next one.